Shalom, and please take a seat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please be seated. We begin our service singing Hinei Matov Umanaim. How good and how pleasant it is to be here together, celebrating Shabbat and celebrating Lincoln's Bar Mitzvah. Turn now to page 172 to sing together Matovu. In the pews, if you don't have a prayer book, it's because people are crowded now, but if you go all around the pews, there are many prayer books there, so if you're missing a prayer book, all you need is to go a few pews back and you'll see a lot of them there, and I see that someone is already collecting and giving them around. We're turning now to page 178 for the blessing for studying words of Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has us mitzvah, commanding us to wrap ourselves with words of Torah. Adonai, our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us in the house of Israel, your people, that we and your children may be lovers of your name and zealous of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of the Torah, to our people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamlamed Tova L'Omer Yisrael. Elu Devarim She'el Lachem Shiur. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. For the study of Torah encompasses them all. Please rise and turn to page 195. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach. Baruch Praise Adonai, to whom praise due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise due now and forever. Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or v'hoshech, oseh shalom urei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladorim elecha b'rachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid, ma'aseh v'reshit. Ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, ma'ala ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbrach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, Ve'al me'orei or she'asita, yifarucha sela. Ur chadash al tiyom ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu mechera le'orot, Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'me'orot. Please join me. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, bring light to the eyes. More welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light gift the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my Torahs with silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'me'orot. Turn to page 199. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. We give thanks to the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we return to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on our minds and their passion for righteousness to our hearts. Help us to live so that their daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'Omer Yisrael b'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is your God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem kavod malchuto le'olam va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. You may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanta levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשותם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוז ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Turn to page 203 as we read together. Sing the song of man and woman joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children in generations to come. The song of the land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Please rise as we turn to page 205 for the tefillah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara, Elohim, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol v'Zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Gilal Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Azur Moshe Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Source of all being, we turn to you as did your people in ancient days. They beheld you in their heavens, they felt you in their hearts, they sought you in their lives, their quest is ours. Help us to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. We read together. You are the door that beckons me in. Peeking around the doorframe, I begin to enter your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions. Waiting to be posed, they filled me with wonder. Sit with me, eternal teacher, my continued seeking. As I fill my hours with Mitzvah, so shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, searing up with wonder, enriching myself in the given. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol. To all generations, we make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
Turn now to page 211 as we all join in singing together Yismechu.
Thank you. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time. To turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world.
We turn now to page 214 for the next reading that is done by Lynn and Debbie and Barry.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements, for our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared, for all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so others might live in dignity and freedom, for human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
We pray that we might live, not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
And we turn now to page 216 for the blessing of Shalom that is read by Laura and Seymour Goldstein.
O God, may we never become complacent, faltering in our efforts to build a world of peace.
Let the nations know and understand that justice and right are better than dominion and conquest.
May all come to see that it is not by might nor by power, but by your Spirit that life prevails. I guess we can go down.
We all need healing and courage and strength in our lives, in the lives of everyone that is dear to us. The Misha Berach, the prayer for courage and strength and healing, is on page 253. Turn now to page 244 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah LeShabbat, the order of reading from the Torah on Shabbat. Please rise. Our tradition tells us that Moses received the Torah on top of Mount Sinai. Moses passed the Torah on to Joshua, who passed it on to the elders, they passed it on to the prophets, and they passed it on to the people of the Great Assembly. And since the days of Moses on top of Mount Sinai, then this Shabbat, all the way to this Shabbat Shmini, the Shabbat of your Bar Mitzvah, the Torah has been passed on from one generation to the next, from one generation to the next. The Torah is a book, but it's much more than a book. When you translate the word Torah into English, sometimes it's called teaching, sometimes it's called commandments. That means that it's a book that carries in it our tradition, our stories, our values, and also commandments of what it means to be a Jewish person, and actually what it means to be a mensch, a good human being. So we're going to pass the Torah from the generations that are the closest to you, from your grandparents to your parents, to your older and wiser brother, and then to you, passing together with the Torah all the heritage that your family brings to you, all the heritage that our people carries from the time of Moses till today, that is just waiting for you, Lincoln, to pass it on to the next generation. Symbolically, we will literally pass the Torah. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Our God is one, Adonai is great, holy is God's name.
God and God of our ancestors, I stand before the sacred assembly, proclaiming that I choose to be a part of the people of Israel, a part of its heritage and its faith, bound by its commandments. Give me strength to follow your path and be a source of pride to my family, my community, and my people. How greatly you are blessed, how good is your portion, how pleasant your lot, and how beautiful our heritage. Blessed are we when we sanctify your name and declare Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And do I read from the Torah? Our Torah portion is taken from the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, beginning with verse 39.
I think that at the point that Lincoln is correcting his rabbi on how to do the service, we can end the thing and say he's kosher as a bar mitzvah. We'll let you carry on, please.
Can we use the blessings?
Sure.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Vahi Yashav Hamelech V'Tel. Sorry. V'chi Yamut Min HaPema Asher Hi Lachem Ichla Hanagaya B'Nivlata Yitma At HaArev V'Ha'achia Min Nivlata Yechabes B'Gadav V'Tamei At HaArev V'Hanasei Et Nivlata Yechabes B'Gadav V'Tamei At HaArev.
Now the blessing after.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Now your brother is going to do the. That doesn't matter.
Your marker.
Okay. You can stay, you can sit, whatever you want.
Baruch Atah Adonai.
Baruch Hu et Adonai.
Baruch Hu Adonai.
Okay, jeez, I have stuff. Really? My one part. Baruch Adonai. I know. Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
V'chil hasheret hasherit al ha'art. Shakatu lo yachil kol holich al ga'on b'chol holich al arba ad kam arba raglayim lechil hasheret al ha'aret lo tuchlum ki shakatim al tishaksu et nafshutichem b'chil hasheret Berlow Tidamu Bachem V'nitmetem Bam Ki Ani Adonai Elohichem V'hi Kadishtem V'hi Meitem Kadoshim Ki Kadosh Ani Berlow Tidamu Et Nafshutichem B'chil Hasheret Harames Al Haaretz.
Baruch Hu Atah. Oh my God. They keep changing it up, I swear. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Shakor. Shakor. Shakor.
Good job.
Please. The blessing before.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Ki ani Adonai Hamala'echem Ve'eretz Mitzrayim Li'ut lachem Elohim V'yitam Kedoshim Ki Kadosh Ani Zot Torah Tavimah V'ha'of V'chol Nefesh HaChaya Ha'romeset B'mayim V'chol Nefesh HaShoretzet Al Ha'aretz Lehavdil ben hatamei uven hatahor uven hachaya hanechala uven hachaya asher la teyachil. Don't you do the English?
You can follow the English in your handouts. You will have it in your handouts.
If an animal that you're allowed to eat dies, anyone who touches its carcass will be unclean till evening. Anyone who eats of its carcass must wash their clothes, and they will be unclean till evening. Anyone who picks up the carcass must wash their clothes, and they will be unclean till evening. Every creature that moves along the ground is to be regarded as unclean. It is not to be eaten. You will not eat any creature that moves along the ground, whether it moves on its belly, or walks on all fours, or many feet. It is unclean. Do not defile yourselves by any of these creatures. Do not make yourselves unclean by means of them, or be made unclean by them. I am the eternal your God. Consecrate yourselves and be holy, because I am holy. Do not make yourselves unclean by any creature that moves along the ground. I am the eternal who brought you up out of Egypt to be your God. Therefore be holy, because I am holy. These are regulations concerning animals, birds, every living thing that moves along in the water, and every creature that moves along the ground. And you must distinguish between the unclean and the clean, between the living creatures that may be eaten and those that may not be eaten. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah. Amen. Our Haftorah portion is taken from the second book of Samuel, chapter 7, beginning with verse 1. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'imvim tovim, v'rata v'rivahem, hana'amorim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah, uv'moshe avdo uv'nvi'ei ha'amo, uv'Yisrael amo, uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzadek. Vahi ki yashav hamelech b'veito va'adonai hini halu misaviv mikol uvav. Va'omer hamelech on Natan hanavi ve'ena anochi yoshev b'veit orizim. Va'aron ha'elohim yoshev b'tochaya. Va'omer Natan el hamelech kol asher b'yavavcha lech asay ki Adonai imach. Vahi belayla ha'her vahi devar Adonai and Natan lemor. Lech ve'amarta el avdi el David ko amar el Adonai ha'ta tivna li beit arzim. bayit nishivti. Ki lo yashavti b'bayit lamiyam halati et b'nai Yisrael mimitzrayim v'ad hayom hazeh. Ve'aya mithalach belho uvmiskan. Bechol asher hitalachti bechil b'nai Yisrael hadavar diboti et achad shivtei Yisrael asher tziviti le'rot et ami et Yisrael le'mor lama lo v'nitem li beit arzim. After the king was settled in his palace, and the Eternal had given him rest from all his enemies around him, he said to Nathan the prophet, "Here I am, living in the house of cedar, while the ark of God remains in a tent." Nathan replied to the king, "Whatever you have in mind, go ahead and do it, for the Eternal is with you." But that night the word of the Eternal came to Nathan, saying, "Go and tell my servant David, this is what the Eternal says. Are you the one to build me a house to dwell in? I have not dwelt in a house from the day I brought the Israelites up out of Egypt to this day. I have been moving from place to place with a tent as my dwelling. Wherever I have moved with all the Israelites, did I ever say to any of their rulers, whom I commanded to shepherd my people Israel, why have you not built me a house of cedar?" Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadarot ha'el ha'ne'eman. Ha'omer v'oseh hamdaber u'mkayim, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanbim ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh. Shenata ta'alanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha lechavod u'tiferet. Al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu, nachnu modim lach, imvarchim utach, yibrach shimcha, b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Great job. Oh, your speech, slow.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all for being here today, whether in person or virtually, watching on whatever streaming service. It means a lot. My Torah portion is all about making sure that you don't make yourself unclean. For example, my Torah portion says, anyone who touches the carcass of a dead animal will be unclean till evening. God is trying to teach us to protect ourselves by not eating unclean animals. This connects to my life because we must stay clean due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Torah tells us to wash our clothes when picking up the carcass of a dead animal. When with a pandemic, we should wash our hands and apply hand sanitizer. The portion also says that you should not make yourself unclean because God is holy. This refers to keeping clean physically, but also having a clean conscience by doing God's mitzvot. Specifically, my Torah portion uses the word v'tameh, which can be translated as unclean or impure. Eating an animal that isn't kosher might be physically as clean as any other animal, but isn't pure and therefore should not be eaten, because if an animal isn't pure, it can't be holy. Though this is up to interpretation. The Torah contradicts itself multiple times. In one of the first chapters of the book of Genesis, the Torah says that we shouldn't eat any animals, while in the book of Leviticus, the Torah gives you a list of animals you can and can't eat. Now that I've become a bar mitzvah, I will take on more responsibilities. For example, I'll continue my Jewish studies by continuing to come here to Hebrew school. For my Mitzvah project, I worked at the JFCS food kitchen. I chose this project because it connects to my Torah portion, which is on the topic of food. The volunteering experience is amazing because it fulfilled my responsibility to help the community, and I really enjoyed helping others, so I've decided to continue volunteering at the food pantry. Now, I would like to thank my mom for always spending time with me, even though you have a busy schedule. Second, I want to thank my dad for always helping me when I need it. You both have always supported me and shaped me into the person I am today. Jed, thanks for always being there for me and always beating me in Mario Kart. Grandpa Lynn and Grandma Corinne, when you were with us. I really enjoyed visiting your lake house and how you always took me out for ice cream at Scanellas. Grandma Laura and Pop, thank you always for taking me out to New York dinners and always keeping in touch with me. Grandma Maria and Poppy, thanks for always doing things with me like swimming and going golf ball hunting. And Grandma Maria, My dad would like to know if you'll make chicken cutlets for him. And I'd like to thank all my grandparents for coming here today from all the way from New York. Thanks to all my aunts, uncles, and cousins for coming all the way here to a place where you've probably never even thought of going. Friends of the family. Thanks for joining me on this occasion and always being a meaningful part of my life. Thanks to everyone who helped me while I was practicing at Hebrew school and Sunday school. He taught me everything I learned about how to read my Torah, my half Torah, and even helped me write the speech I'm reading right now. And to everyone else watching me today, thank you all for coming here to celebrate my becoming a bar mitzvah, and Shabbat Shalom. Oh, this happened now?
You did great. So I have a speech.
Do you have a speech?
Yes.
You go here.
Oh.
I'm supposed to be on the microphone.
Okay. Hi.
I have a speech from us to you. Don't worry, she's going to talk tonight.
Okay.
Open. Lincoln, congratulations. You've done an amazing job this morning. I wrote this earlier, but Mom, Jed, and I are so proud of you, as is, I'm sure, everyone else that is here today or streaming the service online. I've seen how hard you've worked preparing for this. You put in so much effort that you were basically ready to leave the service months ago. As part of becoming a bar mitzvah, you were supposed to volunteer your time in some meaningful way. After talking with Mom and me, you chose to volunteer Monday nights every other week at the food bank at Jewish Family and Children's Service at Career Services in Louisville. Because I had to drive you each time, and it's not that close to home, you and I decided that I'd stay and volunteer with you each time. As your father, I got to watch you volunteer, and it felt really good. Not only were you always eager to go, but when we got there, you did everything with a smile and a great attitude. If one of their clients was there to shop at the food bank, you were always eager to assist them respectfully. If it was a slow evening, you were happy to reorganize donated food, or break down boxes, or basically do anything else that anyone ever asked of you. You had such a good attitude that, as you mentioned, you've chosen to continue volunteering even after your bar mitzvah every other Monday, because it feels right to you to give back to the community. Your decision to continue volunteering is just one example of how much of a hardworking, diligent person you're becoming. Like everyone else your age, you've spent the last 2 years trying to learn during COVID. We've all heard so many stories of these 2 years being lost years for kids' educations, but you worked really hard to make the most of it. I know zooming into school wasn't fun and exciting, but you always did it with a positive outlook and attitude and took as much from the situation as you really could. Even last year, when you were zooming into classes at a new school at North Oldham, from our dining room in Massachusetts, you made the most of it, and you were very successful doing it as a student. You've always been the sweet, caring little boy of our family, but now you're growing into a kind, empathetic, hard-working young man. I know it's not always seen as the most important thing in life, but your empathy and caring about others is an amazing part of you that I hope you continue to develop. Mom and I are incredibly proud of the person you're becoming, and we're really excited to see you grow more into the man you'll be. Mazel tov. I love you. I love you too.
I love you too.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
There's gifts. They're heavy. But first, some thank yous to you. Just let me get closer to the microphone. Lincoln, thank you. Thank you for leading the service so beautifully, for chanting from the Torah, reading from the Haftarah, and doing such an amazing job. I don't think that any of your teacher is surprised today. We all expected that. You've been ready for months, and you taught us all a great lesson. So I want to thank you for the lessons that you taught all your teachers. You came to our congregation, to our synagogue, to our religious school during the pandemic. That's not the ideal time to move. And the first year that you were here, we were still in Zoom, or part of the first year that you were here, and then we became in person. And within a week or two, no one that would have come to visit the class would know that you are the new student that was never here, because you made friends with some of the students that have been here since the day that they were born till today. You became an integral part of the class immediately. That's a great quality that you have in you, that ability to feel comfortable in a new and challenging situation and to make friends. It's not easy, and a lot of people don't have that quality. You were blessed with it. You even made a pen pal in Israel, all the way 6,400 miles away from here. But that's not all. Your father mentioned the fact that you volunteered at Jewish Family and Career Services, but you didn't just do your mitzvah project and, like most people, draw a V on one other thing that you have to do on the way to becoming a bar mitzvah. You continue to volunteer there. Apparently you enjoy volunteering there. That's great. To be able to give to other people and at the same time to feel that you are getting some of that, some of it, and you are enjoying it. That's actually what it means to be part of a Jewish community. And you began your journey as a bar mitzvah already before you became a bar mitzvah, the fact that you wanted to continue to do there. And on top of that, I want to say thank you about the way you handled your studies. I cannot lie to your family saying you worked so hard and it was so challenging for you, because actually very quickly you grasped all that. You're a talented and a smart young man, and that's a great blessing. But you know, there are two challenges when you prep for a bar or a bat mitzvah. One is the challenge of learning, and that was less your challenge because very quickly you knew everything and you were able to perform. I don't know if you told that to your parents, but we could have rescheduled the bar mitzvah for 4 months ago and it would have been just as wonderful as it was today. But then there's the second challenge, and that is that once you learn and once you master what you know and what you're supposed to know, you kind of let it slide. And then 4 months later, you do actually not as good as you are prepared 4 months before. But you persevere and you are persistence. And that is a great quality for every challenge that you have in life. That tells everyone that whatever you set your mind on doing, not only that you will be able to do it, but you will also be able to do it for the long term. You're not just a sprint runner, you're a marathon runner. I don't know if you like to run, but that's the analogy that I can think of. So I want to wish and pray for you for two things. They're kind of contradicting. One is that you'll have a great journey as a bar mitzvah, as an adult in the Jewish community. And you're not yet an adult. Your parents are not going to kick you out of their homes. They better not, and send you to get a job and get a place to live and all that. But you are doing a lot of things that adults are doing, and you're taking responsibilities upon you. So you're beginning, and you already began your journey in the Jewish community here as an adult. And I want it to be a wonderful journey, and I want you to keep learning and changing and developing and be even a greater version of what you are today. But at the same time, I want to wish you and pray that you will not change that much, because there's a lot of great qualities in you. Your dad mentioned some of them. There are more to be mentioned, and those you should keep and be true to yourself. And with that in mind, I want to wish you some blessings in the words that God said to Moses and Aaron to always bless the people of Israel. It's known as the priestly benediction, and it's been going in our tradition, in our heritage for thousands of years, since the time of the book of Numbers, not your book from the Torah, but the next one that we're going to read till today. So the blessing goes like that. Yevarchecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May God always guard you and keep you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha ve'yechuneka. May God's face always shine upon you, and may God always deal graciously with you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always be part of your life, and may God grant you the most important blessing of all, the blessing of shalom, of wellness and peace and wholeness. Amen. And I have some gifts for you. Since you carried your mitzvah project, you have the improved gift from the Jewish Family and Career Services. You're the second bar bat mitzvah here that is getting that. They used to give a very little gift. Now it's an improved gift. It's a whole bag of gifts. You're very lucky. And then you have the entire Hebrew Bible. You had one Torah portion. There are 54 Torah portions and 39 books in the entire Bible. It's a lifetime of learning. You have a book from the Jewish Community Center about Jewish values. And you have a lot of certificates, one about becoming a bar mitzvah, another one about doing the mitzvah project, and one that will help you on a future trip to Israel. And that is for also for your mitzvah project. So I'm going to leave all of this here to take them later, and now you can sit down and enjoy the anthem. Please rise as we turn to page 283 for the Aleinu. Please join me as we read together at the middle of page 283. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are God, there is none else. Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Raymond Allen Sr., Joshua Fink, Raquel Feller, Ira Felson, Sugar P. Anish, Rebecca Judah, Meryl Winner, Natalie Divac, Charles Joles, David Lerner, Lois Traeger, Rivian Greenberg, Cynthia Klein, Saul Pond, Margot Barr, Riva Frank, Samuel Levy, Wilbur Stewart, Rose Tarbis, Joseph Fleischaker, Elaine Frank, Robert Goodman, Barbara Grossman, Bert Klein, Henry Levy, Barbara Miller, and in recent days, Bonnie Bloom, Cindy Rosenberg. And from Lincoln's family, we remember Corinne Ruth Smith, Mark Schulman, Terry Jacobs, Robin Smith. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories in our own hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברת חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולם. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהלל 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 שמי בקדושה וברכו. לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמרם בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלום רב מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה, may the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is Od Yavo Shalom.
Shalom
want to invite all of Lincoln's cousins to help him with the motzi. That includes his brother, by the way. Someone from the cousins to uncover the challah for say the blessing. And why won't you all come closer to the microphone? And Lincoln, why won't you hold the challah? And go for it, go for the blessing.
Eloheinu melech haolam.
Amen. You have to eat a little bit now that you blessed it.
We don't have a knife.
Shabbat shalom, everyone, and Mazal Tov.
Sanitary.
You did great. Good answer.